Hello, this is MusicTechHelpGuy, and welcome to episode 2 of my Melodyne editor series. In this episode, we are going to continue on from our last video where I introduced the basics of using Melodyne and vocal tuning, and we're going to work with a singer that maybe needs a little bit more help than in the previous video. I also recommend you go back and watch episode 1 of the Melodyne series if you want to understand anything that's going on in this episode, because there's a lot of fundamentals in that video that I introduce. Okay, so what I got here is a session, very small excerpt of a session that's basically just 2 acoustic guitars layered up left and right, and a single male vocal. The male vocal is me, and from what you guys have heard in previous videos, I am a terrible singer, so I'm going to need a lot of help compared to the singer in the first episode. So let me just play a little bit of this.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
And actually, even in this, so on top of my vocals needing to be smoothed out and tuned, there's also a wrong note in the guitar right here. Right here. So we're going to fix that with Melodyne, and we're also going to fix my vocals with Melodyne. So let's just start with the vocals. Let me just play them by themselves. There's a little bit of reverb here just to sort of hide my inconsistencies.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
So in addition to just like some notes being flat or sharp, there's other issues. Like there's like an editing issue here where these two words don't really sound very good together right here, this joining point.
There's more to.
More and two just sound like they were slammed together without any proper editing, so I need to fix that as well. And there's also some notes too, like that, like, you know, it's not so much that they're out of tune, it's that like when I get in my high range, my voice gets kind of shrieky and it sort of hurts your ears to listen to, like here.
Don't leave me in the dark.
Especially here.
Don't leave me.
Those notes, there's a way we can sort of pull down the formants on my voice, pull down my harmonic series to make my voice sound a little darker on those squealy notes. So there's a lot of doctoring up we can do here. All right, so the only thing I have in the vocals, like I said, is a little bit of deverb on an aux track. I have HEQ just to sort of scoop out the lowest of the low and boost up the highest of the high, and then just the LA3A to level it all out. So basically EQ and compression, and that's it. So let me throw Melodyne on here. By the way, I'm using Pro Tools today in this episode, but basically the concepts are exactly the same if you're using Logic. You're still going to load Melodyne as a plugin on an insert. And you're still going to have to transfer your recording into Melodyne. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to click on it, hit transfer, and then hit play.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
All right. So let's just do this phrase by phrase, just like I did last time. One of the things I want to avoid tuning too much are some of these little notes that sort of grace up to the melody and fall down from the melody.
Don't you know?
Like this fall, I'm not going to mess with the fall. And also there's like a scoop up here too on don't.
Don't you know?
So the only notes I'm actually going to tune are these three. So again, you just drag over those notes. Just like I showed you in the last video, click on correct pitch. You can choose to correct it at 100% or less than 100%. Sometimes if you go a little bit less than 100%, it actually makes it a little more natural. I need all the tuning I can get, so I'm gonna go 100%. The other thing is the song is indeed in E minor, so it guessed the key correctly. In probably the next episode, I'll show you guys how to change the key if Melodyne doesn't analyze the key correctly. So snap to E minor. Let's see what this sounds like now.
Don't you know? There's more to me and you.
One thing I'm going to do here is if you look at this note, it sort of jumps down and then goes back up. This note was actually intended to be two separate notes. So to separate the note, you just hover over the top part of the note and double click. It'll separate it into two separate notes. You can also use the actual note separation tool to do that. But it's actually built into just the main tool. You can actually do note separation as well.
There's more to me and you.
So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to select all of this to tune, except for that right there. That seems like more of a scoop up to me, so I'm going to leave that alone. I try to avoid tuning notes that seem like a scoop up or a scoop down from something because they just usually don't sound right if you try to tune them. So I'm just going to, I just did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do. There we go. Correct pitch, pull up the pitch center, snap to E minor, and listen.
There's more to me and you, don't you know?
Same thing here. I'm going to just tune these three notes. I'm not going to tune the beginning and ending notes because they're more or less little grace notes.
Don't you know? I'm never leaving you.
There's a couple issues here. Right here, this sort of goes way down and then comes up. I can pretty much guarantee you this is two separate notes.
You.
Maybe a little bit shorter. There we go. And here, it's three notes. So we're gonna cut this. We're gonna cut this. So we have a separate note now.
Leaving you.
There we go. So let's tune all this.
I'm going
to tune these, but not that one. Again, that one seems like sort of like a grace note to me. And all of this will be tuned up as well. Snap to E minor. Let's listen to it.
I'm never leaving you.
Something there doesn't sound right.
Ooh.
This note that it snapped to is so flat, it's trying to snap to F sharp, which is indeed in the key of E minor, but it's not the note I meant to sing. I meant to sing G. So you grab the note, pull it straight up.
Ooh.
There we go.
Just take a chance on me.
Yeah, these
three
notes are also supposed to be the same note, and it actually looks like I climbed up by a couple half steps there. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure they all go to G where they're supposed to go to, I'm going to hold Option and just sort of make sure that their intended target is dragged onto G, and then we'll tune everything. Now, when you manually edit notes, you have to make sure you click on this Include Notes Already Manually Edited. There we go, so it includes those.
Just take a chance on me.
Now you'll hear, just because of this pitch shift in this note, I sound a little bit chipmunky.
Just take a chance.
We're going to fix that later.
Don't leave me in the dark.
Right here, there's also a note that needs to be separated. I go, dark. It's three different notes. So we're going to separate that out. There we go. And we will tune all this as well. Snap to E minor.
Don't leave me
we go. Now, another thing I'm going to do that I always like to do with pop vocals is I like to not completely get rid of the vibrato, but get rid of a little bit of the vibrato. So I'm just going to hit Command A on everything, click on the pitch tool, but go specifically to the pitch modulation tool, the first one. And I showed you guys this in the last video, but just pull the modulation down just a touch. Let's listen to that.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
Okay, maybe I did a little too much. Yeah, I'm at 63. Let's double click, set that back to default. Just do a touch. Where's that at? 81%. By the way, you can check the percentage by clicking on one note and going up here and checking it. That's probably going to be a little more gentle sounding.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
All right, cool. One other tool I want to show you here is this next tool, the third tool. This is the Formant tool. Now, what formants are is they're essentially the meaningful overtones or the meaningful harmonics in the human vocal tract that make each person sound like a unique voice. If you sort of move your vocal tract forward when you sing, you get more of like this nasal sound. If you pull it back, you get sort of like a darker sound. That's essentially what the Formant tool does, but it does it digitally. It essentially adjusts the overtone series. So if I drag over all these notes with the Formant tool and then just drag up, it doesn't shift the note itself, it shifts the formants, it shifts like sort of the overtone series. If I go up, I'm going to sound more like a chipmunk.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know?
And if I go down, I'm going to sound a little bit darker, a little deeper sounding.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know?
Now you can use this as a vocal effect, or you can use it to correct timbres, tones that don't really come out right. And for me, one of the things I know I do all the time when I try to sing is when I hit really high notes, I get kind of squealy and I don't sound very deep or dark anymore. So this very last phrase here,
Don't leave me in the dark.
I'm going to drag over all these notes. I'm just going to pull the Formant down just a touch, just enough to darken my voice a little bit. I don't want, I don't want my voice, piercing, to sound piercing.
Don't leave me in the dark.
That sounds a little better to me. Again, it's a subtle effect, but it sounds a lot better than what it sounded like before. And right here,
Just take a chance.
just take it, because we sort of tune this to one note and we bump this up. I sound a little chipmunky on some of these, so I'm going to pull these down. Pull those down just a touch.
Just take a chance on me.
Let me listen through one more time, see if there's anything else that I want to adjust with that.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know?
That one right there.
Don't you know?
So I sound a little robotic.
Don't you know?
That's mostly because I tune that note up.
Don't you know? Don't you know?
Yeah.
I'm never leaving you. Just take a chance on me.
Now, the next tool I want to show you is going to be useful right here.
There's more to me.
There's sort of like a weird edit in there on more to.
More to me.
It just sounds a little abrupt. I feel like we need more space between these two vocals, these two words.
More to me and you.
One thing we can do is with the main tool, if you grab the left or right side of any note and hold Option, you can sort of freely drag the note time-wise and correct timing issues.
There's more to me.
But I don't want it to be faster or slower. One of the things I want to sort of mess with is the attack of this note, just to make these notes sound like there's a little bit more of a gap between them. So I'm going to do two things with this. First, I'm going to use this tool right here. This is the timing tool. There's a time handle tool, which we'll talk about later, but there's also an attack speed tool. So I'm going to take this attack speed tool, and what you'll see is this little fader on the beginning of every note. What you can do with the fader is you can drag up or down, and you can control how slow or fast the attack sounds from the release or tail end of one note into the next note. So if I pull this fader up, it's going to be sort of a quicker attack. More abrupt. That was the issue. It sounded too abrupt. If I pull it down, it's going to be softer.
More to me and you.
So like it just, the transition between those two notes is just a little more gentle. So all the way down sounds like this.
More too
much. And by the way, if you double click, it goes back to normal, just like everything else in Melodyne. So I'm going to pull that down about 25%. Well, negative 50% is what they're displaying.
More to me and you.
And I'm also going to use the main tool, holding Option, just to adjust the timing just a little bit. I'm going to nudge that back just a bit.
There's more to me.
Actually, let's try nudging it forward instead.
There's more to me and you.
I'm going to pull that attack down just a little bit more.
More to me and you. Don't you know I'm never leaving you?
Now, one other note or phrase in here is this very last phrase. You can't really tell now, but it's a little bit out of time with the guitar. Let's just listen to this with the guitar, and you'll hear what I'm saying.
I'm never leaving you. Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
So this last phrase here, but wow, that sounds a lot better, by the way. But this last phrase.
Don't leave me in the dark. Don't leave me in the dark.
The words "don't leave" just sound like they're ahead of the beat. They're ahead of where the strum of the guitar is. So we're going to try to push those back a little bit just to make them sort of seat better on the grid. So I'm going to, again, just use the main tool, hold Option, pull this back. I'm going to pull this back just so this is a little more delayed.
Don't leave me.
Let's actually start the cursor there.
Don't leave me in the dark.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot more. It's very subtle.
Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark. Don't leave me.
I might actually go a little bit further forward on the word leave.
Don't leave.
No, maybe a little further back, actually.
Don't leave me.
Yeah, that sounds way better, like that. A little further back.
Leaving you. Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
Now, one last tool I want to show you in this video is I want to show you the volume tool, or the amplitude tool. All this does is it adjusts the volume on an individual little blob here. This part where I get a little growly, the compressor sort of really hits that note and keeps it kind of low.
Leave me in the dark.
I just want to bring the volume of those out a bit, and that's really all the amplitude tool does. You grab a note, pull up, it gets a little louder. You pull down, it gets a little softer. And now you'll see up here how much gain you're adding to it. So it's sort of like a clip gain control within Melodyne. So I'm going to add about 2 dB to each one of these. 2.5.
In the dark.
Maybe pull this one up right here just a touch more. All right. So that's the vocals for now. In the next episode, we'll actually come back and I'll add vocal harmonies to this track as well. But for now, we're going to leave it as is. Just one more time, just so you can hear the before and the after. This is the before.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
All right, now let's listen to this after.
Don't you know there's more to me and you? Don't you know I'm never leaving you? Just take a chance on me. Don't leave me in the dark.
All right. Now let's address that guitar note. It's just one note that's wrong in the guitar. Starts, I think, right here. Yep, right there. Yep, that note right there. So the top guitar is playing a lower note. The bottom guitar is playing a higher note. I can tell just from listening to this that the top guitar is correct. The bottom guitar is actually the one that has the mistake in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower just that one note on this guitar track because it's a half step higher. Yep. So you could like, you could print the entire guitar track into the Melodyne plugin, but I prefer just cutting out that one note. In Pro Tools, you just select it with the selector tool and hit B and it cuts it out. So, double click on it to select it, add Melodyne in, hit transfer, and literally just hit play for that one note. And then because I know this note is a half step too high just from listening to it, all I'm going to do is just drag it straight down. There we go. That's literally all I'm going to do to it. Now, I may have to play with the edit later after I print this in place, but for now, I may have to do some editing later to take out that that pop in there, because adding a fade in right now is not going to do anything for me, because remember that Melodyne sort of trumps anything that you do out here to the waveform. So I may have to go back in, manually take out that pop later, but now I've at least fixed that note so it's on the right note. There we go. All right, so that's the end of this episode. In the next episode, we'll keep diving into more Melodyne tools. I'll show you how to create vocal harmonies. Eventually, we'll get into the polyphonic uses of Melodyne as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.